If you're like me, you don't like spells. You want to bonk things with something heavy and hard, like a rock. Naturally, I thought using some spells that bonk things with heavy rocks would be an easy way to transition to a more magic-focused playstyle. But what group of rock spells are better in Elden Ring? The Gravity Sorceries or the Beast Incantations? Maybe neither. Let's do Space Rocks first, we'll do Beast Rocks next time. To watch me experiment with the spell lifestyle live, follow me on Twitch. We find new ways to play Elden Ring all the time. Join the Patreon if you're looking for exclusive videos. If you like Fire Emblem, we played it, but in Elden Ring, go watch that. And finally, make sure you're subscribed. That would really rock. And speaking of rocks, she said, what goes on? We're kicking it off as Gravity, an astrologer. Last time we started as an astrologer, I made a joke about how Geminis are bad. I know this because as a Gemini, I've often been told we're liars. That's why I don't tell people I'm a Gemini. I say I'm a Leo, or sometimes a Pisces. I have trouble making up my mind, because I'm a Libra. Y'all know I'm just vamping through the setup, Limgrave Horse, ignore Alex as he's stuck in a hole. That means he already lost a fight to Gravity.
You win again, Gravity!
We're not using Ashes of War, even though the best Gravity spell is, and this is a fact, the Craigblade Ash of War. That doesn't get boosted by Alex, whatever. These flowers are hiding our staff, the Meteorite Staff. Is it good? It's meteorite. It starts strong with S intelligence scaling and boosts the damage of gravity spells by 30%. Wait, 30? Holy shit. I thought it was like 10 until I looked it up while writing this. That changes how I feel about some stuff. Nearby we get a gravity spell, Rock Sling. Does it rock? We'll see. Astrologers actually don't start off with enough intelligence to use the space spells. That makes sense. College is expensive and we will not judge Uraraka for doing a touch of grave robbing in the Dragon Barrow. Then we hit the High Road Cave, make it all the way to the bottom, and don't have enough blue juice to beat the golem. You know how you run out of stamina with weapons and then like it comes back? I love fighting bosses and just running out of attacks as a spellcaster. It's fun. Instead of quitting out, we die. I gotta get back to the Grace and this is kind of a one-way cave. Come back with enough juice and wow, Rock Sling. This is a spell. You summon 3 rocks, they fly out and deal mostly physical damage with a touch of magic. When all 3 rocks hit, they deal the stance damage of Unsheath. That's good, but they're a touch slower than Unsheath actually, so the bosses are going to heal some of that off, and if one of the rocks miss, it's less stance damage than Unsheath. But that damage, it's pretty good. As good as Night Comet or Unsheath? Kinda. It's in that area. But it is slower and worse at hitting. Wait, I like Rock Sling. Why am I complaining about Rock Sling? Let's keep it light, keep it positive. No one wants to watch me complain, even if some of our most popular videos are the ones where I'm just suffering. On the topic of suffering, it's the abandoned cave. Whiffed the jump, got poisoned, so we reset. Little irritating since we have to put our clothes back on before the boss fight. Hey wait, why are we naked? Well, because Rock Sling is mostly physical damage. If we drop Trow, we can get an extra 15% damage boost from the Blue Dancer charm. That damage is awesome, and then we died. Rock Sling is slow. That's going to be a regular problem. The other gravity spells are just as slow and they don't hit as hard. Neat. After you figure out the timing of a boss's attack though, and which attacks you're allowed to punish, Rock Sling hits. It hits hard. And now we can level up a little bit faster with the Golden Scarab Talisman. It's actually the only bonus we need to get the most out of the Knight's Cavalry. It decides to troll us a little bit, but eventually gravity always wins. Gravity stretches time, time always wins. It makes sense that gravity always wins also, even if it takes a long time stretching it. Riveting spellcaster gameplay against Margit. We back up and hit the rock button until he dies. We get our second pocket so we don't have to choose between making money or being naked. Turns out sometimes getting naked can help you make money. Join the Patreon. Not because I'm naked, it would just be nice. Nerd Juice dodges too early because the spell is slow so we can hit him. Hell yeah, Rock Sling is great against NPCs until they get close enough to hit us. Then we can't hit them, and because they can't run out of stamina, we can't outrun them. It becomes an awkward chase scene that goes on for way too long. And it's funnier with Benny Hill music. As we go through these adventures, it's my goal to talk about what bosses the tools are good against and what bosses the tools are bad against. Rarely do the tools struggle with patches, but his tower shield actually makes this kind of a struggle. I was a little worried we were going to run out of magic. When he surrenders, we couldn't lock on and had to free aim. Also not great. We win, but we struggled. It's patches. That's not good. No pun intended here, but the Gravity Run is a big old case of ups and downs. We run out of blue juice farming Grail for more runes, so let's go to Lernia. Why is this like rock bottom?
This is advanced darkness.
No, like, I've been in Learning at Night before. Why is it so dark? We fought Knights Cavalry and Deathrite Birds here. This seems weird. Okay, let's grab the intelligence here and GT the FO out of here. Now we can swap for more blue flasks and have plus 10 more intelligence as long as Grail doesn't jank us out. Hey, get out of the fucking tree. We also just rode off the edge without jumping. What happened? Isn't there a railing here? Forget Miyazaki, I'm calling OSHA about this one. Finally get it to work. You think throwing rocks at a dragon's head would be pretty straightforward, especially when the bridge literally forces the dragon straight forward. Putrid Avatar also goes poorly. These are Dragon Barrel bosses. We don't have the health to be fighting this stuff, but that's not a problem if we don't get hit. Shit's just really slow. We can't punish like half the Putrid Avatar's attacks, which is wild because this thing is also really slow. Explaining it in Pokemon, we're getting outsped by Vileplume. You get outsped by Vileplume, you gotta be like Golem or something. Pretty sad. Hey, we're a rock type fighting a grass type though. How did we think this was gonna go? Brute force it, get the runes, move on. While we're in the area, Fort Ferroth for the Dectus and escape easily. Call that escape velocity. That's vaguely connected to gravity. Now we can imagine gravity in Fortnite. Truly, when will we get Sandra Bullock in a victory royale? Hopefully before this fortnight, who we dome with the rocks. Time for a gravity girl to go hit a magical high school to learn how to be a hero.
It's like one of my Japanese animes.
The students here do not like us, which is wild. We came in here and immediately started talking about anime. Is that not the way to get popular in high school? Oh well, at least we can fight the Onyx Lord and beat it for the Gravity Well. Will we use Gravity Well? Yes. We just won't really use the spell Gravity Well, because if you use the spell Gravity Well, you're using gravity poorly. It's bad. It's just as slow as Rock Sling with one projectile, and it deals magic damage instead of physical, which means we can't boost it with Blue Dancer. Chat said you can use it to pull basic enemies off a cliff, and like, okay?
Is that it?
Why do you need help fighting basic enemies? Why don't you just run or hit them with your rocks? This solution even requires a chasm. What if you don't have a chasm? It's just a waste of time, like going into the sealed tunnel in Altus and fighting the Onyx Lord. You might think that this is the one that drops the meteorite spell, and you'd be right to do so. You'd be right and smart, but it's not. This one's only worth mentioning because he has a dash attack that dodges the rocks. They're not good at hitting enemies that move. That's a pretty big one in the cons category. The one we're actually looking for is behind Caria Manor, but I don't want to do that till Radana's dead, so let's go to Caelid and get Executus on the way. Doesn't go super smoothly, but you know why. Spell slow. Make me sad. Radon go great. Spells are awesome if you can summon distractions for the boss and just hang out in the back like a coward. He also uses meteors, that's pretty cool, but I wish we got an Ultima Meteor spell that let us turn into a meteor and blow stuff up. Just reuse the animation from Scarlet Aeonia and throw a massive explosion on it instead of a rot flower. That unlocks another spell. We just have to go into the warded catacombs. Despite them being warded, they're pretty easy to get into. Just run to the bottom and grab collapsing stars from a chest. Imagine Gravity Well, but a lot of them. Still slow and bad. Okay, well let's just deal more damage. Radon studied Gravity Sorceries at the town of Horseries, so why don't we? Just because there's no gravity spells here? Oh, huh. Well, we can fight the Nox Sisters that are just basic enemies and get the loose stat staff. We don't have any loose stats. Our stats are very tight. We need Vigor, Mind, Dexterity, and Intelligence right now. Let's run through the danger path of Stormveil and fight Godric. He's really slow, starts the fight far away, so we can hit him with the rocks pretty quickly. Oh, and since he's a fire flying type, Rock Sling is quad effective. Keep that Pokemon knowledge in mind. Gilga's free, we get the Ritual Sword Talisman to crank our damage higher, and then we put it in our new pocket. Damage. Time for everyone's favorite optional Ronnie quest that is mandatory. Into Carry a Manor, I feel like it's easier to carry a manor if you're controlling gravity. Loretta provides a problem. She moves. How could she do this to us? It's still a win. A win, but much too close of a fight for Loretta. Onyx Lord outside next, and he moves. How could he do this to us? A win, but okay, this isn't a close one. It's just annoying to miss this much. Now we'll say hi to Ronnie, pop into Radon's hole, and fight the Mimic with the Meteorite spell. Apparently, this is good against NPCs.
Are you sure about that?
NPCs do this thing where they turn their bodies into little balls on the ground whenever you cast a spell. It's one of the most fun parts of spell casting. A win, also not close, but only because the Mimic can't deal damage. Light the torches and fight the Regal Ancestor Spirit where we can show off our Meteorite spell from the Onyx Lord. Let's let it rip. It missed. It misses. It misses a lot. It has a huge windup and you just kind of gotta stand still like a jackass to use it. So we'll switch back to the Rock Sling and it's better. either. I just don't really love the idea that our best option is going to be the Rock Sling. Pick up the knife for Ronnie, deliver it, then run into the Incel River main. Rock Sling is great at hitting Estelle Jr., which is good if you're having trouble pressing circle and forward at the same time to run past him, I guess. I didn't say hi to Phalanx Demon's Holes, and one of the Mimic Tiers trolled me and tried to block my path because of it. Just needed a somber 6 and 7 from this path. Maybe I was a bit too mean to Meteorite. Apparently it's good against bosses that don't move around a lot and have a big hitbox. Should work great on the Grey Old Dragon. Oh, no, it didn't. She gets these weird invisible walls that block it off. I'm actually not blaming that on Meteorite. Really, I'm here for the Somber 9 and the 8 on the way to the Divine Tower of Caelid, and then go up to the top and activate Radahn's Great Rune. Hindsight, maybe I should have gone for Godric's earlier. I figured we just need more mind if we're going to use the Lustat Staff, which we will. Pop that Great Rune right before we run across the Lake of Rot for 15% more health, magic, and stamina. Then immediately lose it when we get sniped by a little bug. Bummer. Then we fight Estelle with the meteors and get grabbed. That's my bad, you're not supposed to get grabbed. Second try, we just back up, don't get grabbed, and hit him. Unfortunately, this isn't the Estelle that gives you the big boy meteorite. Gotta hit the consecrated snowfield if we want that. Let's go back to school. We technically didn't graduate since we didn't kill the mascot. Why is that part of the curriculum? I don't know, but if you throw enough rocks at the dog, you get the Ratigan icon, something I'm sure plenty of you have already been typing about. It gives you 30 virtual dexterity, making you cast faster. Pretty much mandatory if you're going to cast a spell. Come on, Phil, how can you complain about spells being slow if you're not using the Ratigan icon? Okay, number one, why do spells have mandatory talismans? If you want to use a weapon and you don't rock the ritual sword talisman, it's no big deal. It still works, just might not hit as hard. But if you don't use the Ratigan icon, you're just not giving spells a fair shake. Whatever, now we have it. It also doesn't actually make spells that much faster. Run all the time, bonk the kids, then hit her with rocks. It's cool. Meteorite is cool in the opening, but it's just so slow after she stops trying to use Azure. Yeah, we got toasted. Coming back, Meteorite works better, and we only need one Rock Sling one more time. Never mind, Meteorite rules. I want to clarify, this run, it wasn't just a bunch of misery. It's a tennis match between It's All Over and We Are So Back. Currently, we are so back. Meteorite surely rocks the Lobster Man. Actually, it's not a rock. It's a rock lobster. Just need the necklace for Raya, and wow, we're up at the top of Mount Gelmir, all covered in cheese. Time to fight the ulcerated tree spirit to get the infinite mana tier. Slow spell, die. It's all over. Just because the spell is slow doesn't mean we have to narrate it slow. It's just an all over moment. And we are so back against the Godskin Noble. Backing up and throwing rocks works amazing. And I don't want to fight Rykard yet, so let's just bail. Valiant Gargoyles next. Sometimes they dodge. We hit them anyway. We're so back. Let's go. In the Deep Root Depths, there are some free rune arcs. Just gotta kill some ants, and oh god, the rocks are so slow we can't kill the ants safely. It's all over. Fiat champs now. They're NPCs without stamina or mana consumption. Collapsing Stars doesn't work on them since they can roll and they won't stop chasing us, which means we won't ever have time to cast Rock Sling. This sucks. Average spellcaster boss fight time. We win, but yeah, this whole run sucks and it's never gonna go well. Wait. Hold up. Royal Capital time. It looks like our Rock Sling can bash the hell out of the Erdtree avatar. Let's go. It works against Godfrey. We are so back. Oh my god, it works against Morgoth. We are back. Let's go, gamers. For Biden lands, if you're worried about your re-election chances, you could just do stuff that 80% of your party is into and 56% of the opposition party is into. Like, just a majority popular opinions, also less dead people. I don't know, man. Seems like kind of a free win. Mountaintops of the Giants, yada yada yada. We're in the castle's hole, fighting a gang, throwing rocks and backing up works great. Why would I think that Rock Sling is a bad spell? This shit hits so hard, it's amazing. Get that dex tier on the way to the other piece of the Haligtree medallion. Now we'll be casting just about as fast as we can. Nobody needs to say I didn't have enough casting speed, right? Now you're already saying it, who cares? Consecrated Snowfield is too big. They should have made it the Concentrated Snowfield. Anastiel will give us a somber 10, but she's an NPC. Oh boy, I hope we get to run around really fast and pray she does something stupid. Now Lustat's staff is maxed out and we can enter the yellow anus tunnel. Hey gamers, if the anus is yellow, do not enter. Call a doctor. Estelle again, but it's, I guess his grab attack makes clones. We didn't see that. It feels like the exact same fight. And now we have the meteorite of Estelle. It's like Comet Azure, but not as consistent. And honestly, way fucking cooler. It's bad. Like, it's not good, but it's very fucking cool. Penguin Noble is an NPC, and boy, I hope we get to run away from him until he makes a goof so we actually get to hit him. Mogwin Palace goes fine. I can fight Sanguine Nobles in the dark. Lock on makes our spells hit automatically. Now Moog, here is a place where gravity spells kick so much ass. He's stupid and just kinda lets the rocks hit him. Once you get the stance break, slurp that infinite magic tier and make it rain. It's a meteor shower for Moog and it's so fun. Google having fun with Moog in the shower on your work computer to find out more. Now, since Meteorite of Estelle is bigger meteorite, that should work on Gray. Oh no, it doesn't. Invisible walls. That sucks. Time to use slow spells against the fire giant. He's slow too, but his hitboxes are large and somehow we whiff a lot against the giant. Or I don't pay attention to the hot balls and they rain down on us. After 3 fails, we finally get to phase 2 and Meteorite of Estelle will finish it off. Oh my god, we are so back, gamers.
It's over.
Immediately burn down the Erd tree a few days later when I come back to stream. Godskin Duo goes fantastic. We bring Bernie, but honestly, he doesn't do all that much. We just hop on a broken column and throw rocks when Chunkster tries to roll us out. As the new Godskin Duo spawns in, we open up the Astel Tunnel to Kaboom Town. My timing and spacing are immaculate. I will never flounder my timing or spacing with the Meteorite of Astel in a way that screws me over.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Continuing our path to victory, we make the swag jump. Use gravity well on the birds. It's really great at hitting the birds, making it just as good as literally any other projectile. We could use rock sling. I just wanted to use this somewhere. It also knocks aerial enemies down to the ground if they're the size of a bird or smaller. Doesn't work on dragons. Oh well, bird run is over. It's time for the draconic Gravity Sentinel, who wants to send us crashing to the ground. His range options are faster than ours, which sucks since they're accelerating at 9.81 meters per second. Check it, see if that's right. I don't know. People say spellcasters don't need vigor because you'll never have to trade, but those people are living in Dark Souls 1. I think it's a big problem in general. People locked their opinions on things like parrying and spells in Dark Souls 1 and haven't really grappled with the fact that Elden Ring isn't that. Every other boss in this game has a ranged attack or a gap closer to hit you when you cast a spell, so you absolutely have to trade as a caster. And this trade goes bad. We died. It was so frustrating I forgot I was supposed to do gravity puns. We come back and the damage is starting to fall off. It was out of this world in the mid game, but now it's basically just like using a club, but slower and with less time to dodge. Win the second fight, on to Malekith, but god, it is so over. Also, endgame bosses get faster and more aggressive, so Malekith is faster and more aggressive and we straight up do not have the time to get our rocks off, which is even more annoying when he's getting his rocks off on us as much as he wants. When is it my turn? In an ideal encounter, one person would get their rocks off, then it would be the next person's turn. Sometimes you can get your rocks off together, but usually it's one after the other. Here, it's just Malekith blasting us over and over again while we struggle to find time to even start shaking our staff, let alone getting anything satisfying coming out. And if you thought the Beast Clergy phase was bad, wait until he goes Black Blade. His damage gets turned up to 11. It's very, very over here, and I think the next bosses are just gonna get worse. It takes us 13 minutes and 6 deaths to break through this wall, eventually figuring out which attacks work, or more accurately, Malekith picks bad moves, or decides not to attack for whatever reason. Bummer. Gideon should be free, we just gotta line up the Meteorite of Estelle properly while he monologues, and then...
I missed.
What does that mean?
I missed.
Oh, hell no.
The max casting speed you can have is 70 dex. Gideon's is over 9,000. All of his spells come out so fast, interrupt our spells or just straight up kill us. We had one shot to win this easily, and I botched it. That's my bad. We're not gonna penalize the ranking of these spells because of this fight, mostly because it's a pass-fail system and can't penalize lower than a fail. Gideon also never runs out of mana, so there isn't a flask window to hit him. Normally this guy is free, but if you don't get the discount discount, he is expensive. Lots of misery here. I'm just trying to catch him doing something silly and hoping that Meteorite of Estelle will stun lock him to death. It doesn't work and is a terrible strategy. You should never just hit Meteorite of Estelle and pray to RNGesus that you get the hits you need. And I would never do that either.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Rocksling wins the day when Gideon just decides to not cast sometimes. Very cool win. Godfrey time. He has a special dodge when you cast spells where he jumps forward and stomps out rocks. Much like Malekith, he is better at getting his rocks off than I am. We need to thread a needle between being close enough that he uses the stomp instead of the jump, but far enough away that he doesn't hit us with the stomp. Also, sometimes with the stomp, we just throw the rocks. And that's great. He really is the counter to this build by moving and playing aggressive. The only way this could be worse is if he could parry spells, but surely that won't come up later. There are some moves we like. The Daddy Grabby in Phase 2 is great, as long as we don't get hit by it. Thank you, Daddy. I make sure to say thank you, Daddy, whenever Daddy splits us in half. Join us on Twitch, you'll see that I'm not joking. The big windup for shockwaves is also great until he has the shockwave, then that's bad. But the big earthquake where he rips up the ground, that's a free punish, and eventually we use it to get a big win. Blizzagus Axe actually goes fine. I was just too greedy the first time since he's a non-mobile boss with a big body, thought we could just let it rip right away.
Raw dog, no raincoat.
Works a lot better if you stay back and hit him with the rocks until he gets stunned, then let it rip. Big damage, not quite enough to kill. It's fine, just lead him over to the wall and hit the big meteor again. We are so back. Just kidding, it's all over because Radagon is straight up unfair to casters. Even if the only punishment he had was his insane dash attacks, laser darts, and teleports, he would be very unfair to casters. But he also has a spell parry. Well, not a parry. A parry has a timing window. He has an auto counter, just holds up his arm, parries automatically. I think he also has the best gap closers in the game. I know that because I fought every remembrance boss this run. So yeah, he closes a gap faster than that sad mall in your hometown. Not the good mall. That gap is doing fine. It's the single story mall with the second run theater and no food court, that mall. Obviously, Meteorite of Estelle isn't going to work.
Wait a minute.
Are we actually just supposed to raw dog it with the Meteorite of Estelle?
Bareback, baby. No Jimmy.
Seriously, I hope you don't think that we're going to keep coming back here, just trying Meteorite of Estelle over and over again, hoping to God that eventually we'll get lucky enough for a win. And if I did get that win, obviously I'd have to admit that the spell basically one-shots Radagon. It's so good. Can it do it consistently? Absolutely not. But if it works one time, we can upload that short to YouTube and everyone will think that this is a free solution to Radagon. It just didn't really work, so we're going to go try and fight Fortisax instead. Heading to the Carrion Study Hall. Just kidding, this brick wall is no match for my skull. After almost an hour of trying the same thing and expecting different results, we break through and get a good enough run to make it to the Elden Beast. No pressure or whatever, we just have to kill God or suffer through Radagon again. Honestly, there is no pressure. Elden Beast is a cakewalk. Get the stance break, then Meteorite of Estelle, it's pretty free. We are so back, baby.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Carrion Study Hall, hug Fia, throw rocks at Fortisax till we win. We are back, we are back. Now it's time for Rykard.
Are we boned?
Actually, no. It might seem kind of bad because we can't get our big rocks off in the magma, but we can get the smaller ones out, and that's pretty great, until we run out of blue juice. Then we reset and aim for the head. It's actually better than Night Comet since it has some stance pressure. In Phase 2, he slowly tries to activate Hell Phase, but we have enough stance pressure to just chain break him. It rules. We are so back. You know what, gamers? What if we just stayed back the rest of the game? Liturgical Town, no issues. We can't snipe the snipers, but we still get through just fine. Haligtree, I didn't fall off. I just haven't released my new shit. Let's turn on the little Nos to speed things up, kill the snail, make the swag jump, and fight Loretta. Remember when Ghost Loretta was a problem? Yeah, me neither. Our damage is better now, so we just keep doming her until we win. Now we're in Elefel, which I didn't pronounce wrong. It's Spanish for VFL. We kinda sniped the bugs through the floorboards to get our Dragon Crest Grade Shield, but we don't need it. Old school Tulok fans will remember last year when we played Sephiroth and discovered the best solution for Malenia was getting naked and throwing rocks at her. That's what I've been doing this whole time, and I'm even better at the game than I was a year ago. Not that I needed to be. When Phase 2 starts, we just space out the Astel Meteor properly, deal a ton of damage while she's in the onion, so that after we hit her a few more times, times, she goes back to the onion. We meteor again, and then just kind of throw a few more rocks. We are so back, except we ended up with 88 deaths, killed 39 bosses, and it took 7 hours and 28 minutes to do it. Which puts this run below Jack Skellington in C tier, and doesn't really bode well for these spells. Might sound harsh, but all passes. Rock Sling is great to start the game with. You can get the Meteorite Staff for a massive boost to your damage, 30%. Whoa! And the bosses early game are slow enough that you can hit them with the spells. But late game, the damage does not keep up even with the 30% boost and the Lustat Staff. The enemies also speed up. We were rocking 60 dexterity after the 30 buff from Radigan's Icon. Actually, wait, hold on, 70. I forgot we put the dex tier on late game. So no, we had max casting speed, and it is just not enough for most of the endgame bosses. Gravity Well is just as slow, with less damage, and only has gravity effects on smaller enemies that you could just hit with rocks instead. Collapsing Stars is also slow and doesn't really hit that hard when it hits, and has the same disappointing gravity effect that Gravity Well did. Meteorite is just a worse version of Meteorite of Astel, and Meteorite of Astel is just a more situational version of Comet Azure. Don't get me wrong, it's cool and funny and satisfying when it works, but it doesn't really work in a lot of places, and even the places it does work in doesn't really work consistently. I've seen some people say, well, this spell is meant to be part of a kit, not the entire kit, and I'm factoring that in. But if you have Night Comet for when you need to cast something faster, or a Club for when you need to hit something with stance damage, why wouldn't you just use those the whole time? Using Night Comet is more fun than using Rock Sling, and if you're planning to use Rock Sling, you should probably have the intelligence to use Night Comet. Using a weapon is more fun than using Rock Sling. Breaks stance faster and does just as much, if not more damage. I just really don't understand why you would use these unless you wanted to throw space rocks. They're outclassed by everything they do by something else, and just kind of miserable to use in endgame. Follow us on Twitch if you want to watch me play these runs live. Join the Patreon if you want to watch a bunch of exclusive extra videos, and make sure you're liking and subscribed so you don't miss the next one.